Yeah.
Like hitting the fan's the new norm.
Yeah, but that is a predictable thing.
Yeah.
Morning, Dylan.
Morning, how are you?
All right, how are you?
Good, good. Every time I see that it says live by the standby, I'm like, how do we know if our mics are on or not? Because one time when we had that AI chick here, the please stand by was on, and you could hear me going, if you don't stop talking like that.
You guys are on right now.
Yay, we're live now, but no video.
Sadness. What's up, Sadness?
Apparently this is better than my real personality.
Do you know the like Inside Out Sadness? Like that's who I'm seeing.
I never
right
saw
now.
it, but I know of it.
Come on, like all of the staples of what we talk about, you need to be aware of. Because when I
Inside
reference
Out.
them, you got to have authentic reaction to them.
I can't have authentic reactions. I'm too peppy and too happy.
Oh, you are emanating peppiness and happiness.
My dancing in the morning is off-putting to some.
Dude, don't judge me by my my Eeyore-ship. All right, real quick. Like we talked about the CEO that was kiss-cammed and whatever.
Yeah.
The unfairness of that whore who was the HR director. Like they're not getting the same level of hate as the CEO is. Why is that?
I didn't realize she wasn't. Well, I guess
she was married, had kids.
Yeah.
But why is it's so easy to take aim at the CEO and the
I mean,
the Jezebel of a HR director
Jezebel.
is just as guilty.
I have seen hate on her too.
Really?
I have, but
we're talking 90-10 split.
Maybe. I'm wondering if it's two things. One, his whole being her boss, basically, over her taking advantage as in, he should know more.
The stress.
Yeah,
she was just a victim of his CEO.
Like he should have been a better leader and stronger.
No, feminism disagrees.
This is just what I'm saying. I think
they are equal. They have sentience. They have free will, and they're both douchebags, and they should both be hated equally.
Well, the other thing too is I saw online, I don't know if it's real or not. I don't know if this was made up or if it's true, but somebody claimed to have posted a letter that his wife wrote and shared online. And in it was very sort of like, I'm not even going to be sad. I'm not even going to cry about this. I'm just out, kind of thing. And she had said, it's just so disappointing, like the cliche of it all.
Why?
That you couldn't be a stronger man, that you are the stereotypical boss office affair with his secretary type of guy. Not that she was, but this stereotype, like how disappointing that you are just that low and stereotypical. And I think that's why another reason maybe he's getting more hate is everyone's like, God, what? Just another douchebag, really? Again, is it fair? Maybe not. She was involved too. But I'm wondering if that's why he gets more, is that it's just annoying and this guy who thinks he could have gotten away with it because he's this powerful CEO and he was probably arrogant about it and people just want to like knock him down a peg.
Yeah. So what's the culture say about monogamy and the institution of marriage? Have we kept that sacred and made it special? And not why this guy? Like, is it only that the rules apply to the person you don't like, or should it universally be applied to all douchebaggery? Because I think culture is really supporting bad decisions. They're supporting the bucking the status quo and doing what feels good. Do you not think the CEO was feeling good in that moment? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like everybody else does, and the justifications and the excuses for bad behavior. Why not him? Like, why everybody else and not the CEO? Because we're cherry picking someone we don't like anyway. We're holding them to the standard, which we hold no other people to the standard of.
Yeah.
People in Congress could have a slush fund paying off sexual exploits, but not the CEO. The CEO needs to be a freaking pastor. They need to be lily white. They need to make all good decisions, but everybody else can be a douchebag. And we're like, oh, look at this fat body who eats nothing but Twinkies. But we need to feel about how they feel about themselves.
Yeah. And I wonder too, like, it is so interesting to me to see people bash him. I saw people bash Trump when he was running for things he has said about women, and the people bashing, not all of them, but it's so interesting when I see people bashing them that I know has done the same thing.
Yes.
And it's like, like, okay, you're fine behind your keyboard, but I know you in real life and I know exactly what you have said about women and done.
Fakery.
Yes.
So the principle is that we basically hold the high standard of the people we don't like and weaponize virtue and nobility against them while laying down cover fire for every other douchebag who at the same time has done the same shit that they're doing. Like, it boggles my mind. I am all for restructuring culture, right? Calling out, shaming, bullying, the whole thing. I am pro-bully. Do you know that? Do you know that about me?
Pro-bully?
Pro-bully, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking that we need more bullying, not less. We need more shaming, not less. We need people to feel not so confident in their exploits, the things they're doing wrong. We don't need to make them feel good about their bad decisions. We need to make them feel terrible.
But you're sort of, I think, talking about almost this like justified bully, as in put a bully in their place by bullying, rather than, because bullying is like someone who doesn't deserve it, who is being a good person.
Who decides who deserves something? Yeah, that's kind of subjective. What if they do deserve it? What if weaklings were turned into strong people because somebody bullied the shit out of them and gave them inspiration to be more than they were?
What if weaklings were turned into psychopaths who then go and hurt people because they were bullied? Oh, because
we're not hurting people the current way, right? We're not creating psychopaths the current way. If you're going to take a North Star of if this is effective or not, bullying has been around for a while, and we need more bullying.
The guy in Happy Gilmore putting lipstick on.
Yes, right.
He was bullied and he was a little nutty.
So that is the only repercussion, right? Bullying is the only thing that causes that psychology.
Here's my daughter was just recently telling me about this little boy in her grade. And he seems like the nicest little boy. And he is. And she's like, yeah, he gets picked on a lot and people bully him. And I said, why? And they're like, because he cries a lot.
Yeah.
And I said, that's sad. That's it. She's like, yeah, he's just an emotional kid and everything makes him cry. And then that makes him bullied even harder. And I'm like,
yeah, feed the kid some testosterone, give him some freaking weights, tell him how to stay. It doesn't matter. You need to work on it. That if there's a cause for bullying, that we should really lay on some extra layers of it and fix the problem. Don't pretend like the soy boy, short frame, whatever, is just going to have a great time after they graduate because we created a bubble for them. We got to make them strong. We got to know that bullying has a place.
And it does depend too on, I feel like, how bad it is. Like
what? I know you feel for people. You don't want the meanness.
I don't want the meanness,
right.
But I have experienced.
Were you bullied?
I feel like maybe once.
Okay.
It didn't happen often, luckily.
Yeah.
There was maybe an instance or two I could think of in school.
Okay.
Nothing like
so
really bad.
All people are different. Some people have height. Some people have strength. Some people have intelligence, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what I disagree with, like, for instance, I was a 100-pound high schooler. I wrestled at 103 pounds. And so I was not a menacing force, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you had physical over me, then you could own me if all we were playing was a physical game. Do you know what I did?
What?
I developed mentally. So not only, like, if you bullied me on the physical side where you picked me up by my neck and slammed me against the garage door and I experienced trauma, guess what I was free to do? The license was extended to me, making you feel so bad about how stupid you were that it was an equal share of, you hit me with physical, I'm going to hit you with mental. And guess what? Who's going to win? Is physical an advantage long term? No, physical is advantage short term. Mental has a disadvantage in the short term, but a huge advantage long term. So guess what I get to do for 30 years? I get to own stupid people. And every day that I just basically decimate the dumb means that I think back where the physical people thought that they were domineers at the time, right? But when I own them, I feel no sympathy for those who made me feel bad because I lack the physical characteristics they do. Because now I have the mental characteristics that own you. And when you're fucking crying in the corner because the smart guy has you by the testicles, I want you to remember the day where you had me pinned against the garage door, making me blush and embarrassed because you had me dominated. You feel the trauma coming?
Did this actually happen?
It actually freaking happened. And every day I go after dumb people only because of that moment. So Rob, if you're listening out there, when you took my soul, when you pinned me against that garage door, every day I've thought about that moment, and it inspired me to dominate you on the intellectual side. And you're crying right now, and I'm fucking loving it.
Devil's advocate.
Yeah.
You're saying that the physical dominance is short term.
Yeah.
But you just said you've thought about that every day.
It inspired
for
me
years.
every day. It didn't dominate me. It didn't make me do different things. It didn't make me do choices. But that little memory hanging in my head that said, I got to be emotionally and mentally and more intellectually stronger than you, right? Because you had me in that moment, but I had you for 30 years.
And again, that still to me sounds warranted. Like, for sure, if there's a kid being a little punk, I don't feel bad. I am going to be like, by all means. But the things that are not warranted is what's sad to me.
So,
like someone minding their own business.
Let's take Billy. Billy gets bullied at school. The mom in you is going to want to say, well, Billy should be. What if Billy is an absolute douchebag, and the only thing stopping him from expressing his douchebaggery is because he's been kept under the thumb of physical bullies that have made him question himself. So that bully is actually keeping the rest of civilization from the douchebag. Now, you as a mom come along and feel bad for Billy because he's crying in the corner that he just got a wedgie that pulled his underwear over his head, right? And he's feeling it, right? And then you're like, oh no, let's not be mean to Billy. But then Billy is like, oh, somebody believes in me. Now, Billy is a minuscule person, right? In physical and mental attributes. But then you gave him confidence, and now he wields his douchebaggery on the rest of the world, enabled by you, who were really empathetic, but enabled a psychopath to do douchebaggery to the rest of us.
But you started off with saying Billy is a douchebag.
Well, you don't. But honestly, you would in the blind, if you knew someone was bullied, that you would automatically say that the villain is the person doing the bullying. That's the top hierarchy, right, of douchebaggery. But you don't know if Billy is a douchebag of a lesser level. And if we take the bullying thumb off of Billy, he's free to feel confident in expressing his douchebaggery. That was kept in check, right? Evolution. We have lots of evolution in what's his name?
Darwin.
We have Darwin, who says, we feel bad about the weak being killed off, right? We feel bad about we don't want the weak to die. But what if they go and breed and create more weak people? Now we have a whole epidemic of weak people when all we had to do was be satisfied with the weak die early so they don't breed.
You have me thinking now. I'm like searching my brain of, was there ever an instance I was bullied and how did that come about? Like, are there instances where bullying was necessary, or was it just simply like I can remember some girls and it was over a boy I was dating. We were in school, but dating. This other girl liked him and they started messing around because the boy was a douchebag. And the friends of hers would like, I think AOL Instant Messenger maybe had just come out. That's how long ago this was. Would like message me and tell me, hey, he hooked up with her. Hey, they're doing this and that. And I'm like, why are you being mean to me? Like, I didn't do anything, but I was like this, like target almost because my boyfriend was messing around with their friends. They were all bad people, but then they would turn it on me and like rub it in my face. And I'd be like, but then go be with you. Like, you're all terrible people. Bye. Like, why would you make me out to feel some kind of way about this? Oh yeah, because you're terrible people.
Exactly.
And so that's where I was like, I could see if someone's being a douchebag and then they get bullied and you're like, well, you kind of got what you deserved, or you're being ridiculous. And then I was like, what was I being in that moment?
Exactly. Yeah. So bullying plays an important role in cultural development. And all I require from bullying is that there be a fair fight so that we don't take physical and make it the only way of culturally accepting. Like if I punch you in the face, right? Culturally, it'd be like, I dominated you from the physical standpoint. But if I came in here and just embarrassed you intellectually, right? It's not the same as punching. So culture, just make it a fair fight. So if dude wants to throw down, knowing that he can own you easily because he's got the stature to do it, then cool. Then I need to have like some hype people like, oh, he just threw down the capital of Oregon, like that kind of stuff.
That's all we God.
Well, and embarrass you like, oh, can't believe he decimated you, bitch. He knew sub-Saharan Africa.
Oh
he knows about the parallels. Oh, anyway.
You really had an interesting
Oh,
childhood.
it was so good. I love it.
I always say, this is maybe a bullying thing. Anytime someone comes up to me and they're like, oh, so do you know about, and maybe it could be that, do you know about the whatever's in Africa, the blah, 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 do you know this? I usually go, no, I had friends in school.
See, you're a freaking bully.
Or else like, no, I had a life.
Yeah. But, intellectual and
Which
physical
I don't mean it. It's just
aren't
funny.
the only two things. Everybody's got their skill set. Everybody's good at something else. And it seems like during our development, there are certain things that take priority over others. And honestly, like in a perfect world in the Utopia, have you ever read Utopia, by the way?
No.
Oh, you totally should. Like,
No, I had a life. No, I'm kidding.
Skip the movies and read Utopia. Like,
Okay.
it's eye-opening because it puts you in a sort of a mental perspective of taking like everything that you think you want, right? If I won the lottery, if all people were good, if like everything was perfect, in your mind, you're like, that's all our problems. Perfect is awesome, right? And Utopia puts a little bit of a checkmate on that. If I give you everything you want, you're not going to be happy. It's the struggle and the frictions that make who we are dominant and happy and have purpose.
Yeah.
And so getting everything you want is not necessarily the answer, but we think it is.
I just saw a meme the other day online. It said something like, nothing feels better than being winded and exhausted and sweating from attempting a goal you put on yourself.
Yes, it's the best.
Yeah.
Julie says people have no shame anymore. And I attribute that to good intentions, right? We don't want, we put ourselves in the minds of other people, and we don't want other people to feel bad. And from a practical standpoint, sometimes you need to feel bad in order to change your ways and to feel a way that you should about things so that you can orient yourself.
Kind of like, you know what it feels like to be bullied or to have something happen. So, you know, I'm never doing that to someone else.
Exactly. So if you have someone, your Dairy Queen friend, okay, who you see that they are eating ice cream and trying to lose weight at the same time, and they're totally frustrated that they can't write that math for some reason, right? Would it be
why
bullying?
It's not working out.
Would it be bullying to then shame them and say, listen, your math is terrible. You are eating the calories and eating the processed food and eating the high sugar things, and it's contributing to you being overweight, and you're going to be overweight as long as you keep making those decisions, right? And then they'll argue it. They go through the same levels of justification.
I have this
and
problem and this issue.
Yeah. But if you're like, hey, you're a fat cow today, and you were a fat cow yesterday, and your fatness is nobody's telling you that you're a fat cow because of these things. Maybe the word fat cow is enough of a negative influence to make you not eat the ice cream today. And if that's the case, would it not be virtuous bullying? Because obviously the math isn't working. You're not like, hey, your caloric intake is offset, and you're still going to, be
obviously
overweight.
Logic and reasoning are getting nowhere.
Exactly. And some
Let's
people
try
need bullying.
mental bashing and shame.
Exactly. We need shame. We need more of it.
It's funny. I did just say to someone last weekend, similar person was telling me about how stressed they are. And they do. They have a lot of things going on in their life that are not good, and they've been stressing out. And they're like, yeah, I want to have a drink. And I picked up a cigarette the other day, and I want to do this and that. And I just go, okay, here's an idea. What about de-stressing in ways that are good for you and will make you feel good? Like exercise, go for a walk, listen to some music. And it's just, that doesn't, well, I need it. I need to de-stress right now. I need something right now, and put it in. And I was just like, okay, well, keep feeling like shit all the time and see where that goes.
That's the frustrating part of it. When you come from, like, you have the answer, right? And these 5 people don't have the answer. And you think that if you just give them the information, that they'll take it and they'll run with it and they'll fix their problems. And you're like, oh, what motivates human beings? If the access to information is not doing it, what does do it, right?
Yeah.
How about extreme repercussions? People tend to make good decisions when they're put in peril. Peril has a way of straightening out everything. If you do a thing and you die, right, then it is a cautionary tale for other people who do the thing, and you connect it. You don't make them feel better about it. You're like, hey, you know what? When you jump off a cliff, you hit the ground and your entrails spread out all over the ground, right? And so the next person who's willing to jump to say, hey, I want to tell you about this last person who jumped and their entrails spread on the ground, right? That is truth and fact, and that puts you in check really quick because you can picture it. You can picture your entrails spread out of the ground, and maybe you don't make the jump. But if you're like, you know what? Let me make you feel better about this. Like let's market it so that maybe you do it. There's only a 10% chance that your entrails spread on the ground. You might bounce, you might break some legs, and you might be okay. And you will exhibit all of the courage that people who have had the testicles to be able to jump off of this cliff. You should freaking do it, and you should feel good about doing it. So either you gin people up and you make them feel good about something that is ultimately could cause their demise, or you just share the gory details of what is entailed and what you're about to do. Oh, you're eating a Twinkie, right? Should I tell you about how this is going to make you feel good and it's going to taste good and you should do more of it? Or you're going to be a fat blob who, did you know people's legs get cut off when they eat too much sugar and they get to a point where their body just can't process the glucose that's passing through their veins, and insulin actually gives up because you've overrun it with things to do? Your legs are going to get cut off. Which is the more effective? Telling people they're going to lose their legs, or they're going to really enjoy how this tastes and the mouth pleasure that they're going to get?
Oh, I know an example of that. Years ago at an old job, our office was getting remodeled, and they were making a new front desk. And the guy who had been working in the office building this desk was telling me one day about how he was diabetic, and was saying how he's even had a couple toes removed and some other body parts, whatever, getting lobbed off because of this horrible diabetes he has. And so one day we're going to pick up lunch for the office, and I was like, well, let's ask this worker guy. He's here all the time. I was like, hey, I'm going to get lunch for everybody. We're going here. What would you like? It's on us. And he says, I know I really, really shouldn't. I'm not supposed to, but get me a large sweet tea. And I went, if they're hacking off body parts, when does the desire to no longer consume sugar kick in?
Yeah.
Like, that was a big, number one, how addictive sugar is. But yeah, that people will ultimately do what feels good at the time. And it doesn't matter what logic surrounds that. Here's another example I just had. My son, his birthday's coming up end of this month, and he loves riding bikes. We went to a bike park near Cleveland a couple months ago, and he absolutely loved it. And he wants to go to this bike park again and all this stuff. So for his birthday, we told him we're going to get him a new bicycle. Was so excited, and we'll go to the bike park and we'll do all these things. He saw a little action figure doll at the drugstore the other day and instantly wanted that. And was like, I'll take this over my bike. I don't need a bike. I just want this. And I went, what in the short-sightedness just happened?
Exactly.
And I said, buddy, a bike that you can ride at this bike park you've been dreaming about going to again, and you've told everyone about, and how much you love it and how excited you've been for a bike. This is a little thing you're going to throw in your toy box in a week. You don't see the difference here? And he's like, well, I mean, and I'm just like, now he's a kid, but I think grown-ups can be the same way.
Can be or
Yeah.
are?
It doesn't matter what logic goes into it.
Grown-ups are that way.
Yes.
So carrying that insight of what you are is the 6-year-old version of yourself. All you've done is adopted disciplines that keep you from behaving. Like, your 6-year-old version shouldn't be their current version. Right? You shouldn't be pursuing impulses in the same way. Here's the worst part of our culture, and I think it's our demise, right? Is when you share the consequences with other people. If all consequences that were due you paid every time. So every time you sped, you got a speeding ticket, right? But it's sometimes you drink the sweet tea and you don't get a body part cut off, means that sometimes there's no consequences, or they're shared by other people. So we have this massive web of blaming other things. You even said it there. Sugar is addictive, right?
Yeah.
Almost like the sugar is almost a little bit of fault for the person drinking the sweet tea. Right?
Yeah.
It's not the sugar's fault.
It's not the sugar's fault.
At all. So even saying those words almost lays down some cover fire for the Toeless King to drink more sweet tea, because number one, it's not going to affect him tomorrow. He might actually get away with it and not lose a body part. And two, those evil sugar corporations, they're just making it addicting, so you can't even say no.
Put that in this drink.
Damn them. But I hold Diabetic Bill. I don't know what his name is. Diabetic
I can't remember
Bill,
his name.
For he is a complete sum of his poor decisions.
Yes.
And every toe should be pointed out to him. Hey, you lost your toe because of that sweet tea. Do you still want that sweet tea? And if he says yes, okay, everybody has free will. Everybody wanted to listen. What you're not allowed to do is blame somebody else and let somebody else share the consequences for your actions. Those are the only two rules.
Yeah. What if you said to this guy, hey, you're losing body parts here. You sure you want to drink that? Yes, I know my risks. I'm going to do it anyways. Great. Who's your caretaker, though, when your leg gets cut off? Is it your wife? Maybe we should ask your wife if we should have sweet tea.
If it is a decision you made that caused the body part, you should pay that out of your freaking bank account, because the other pool of the risk
Like,
pool,
are you going to make your family member now be your caretaker because of that decision? Is anybody else financially strapped because of that decision?
you affect all of those people.
Yeah.
It's not just your decision. If you have dependents, right?
Yeah.
The rest of society, the insurance company, your family, the people who depend on you, right? When you make a bad decision, it affects all of those people. And so long that they're carrying a bulk of the risk and you're the only one that gets a say in the decision making, again, tyranny. Tyranny has a place. Bullying, tyranny are both very effective means of controlling dumb people.
Not wrong.
Go ahead, make your argument in the chat here. Let's read some comments.
Yeah, Scott says
Joe,
he's bullying you.
Are you an intellectual bully? I will use that strategy when necessary. So I don't bully people, especially like if there's no utility to it. I will not bully someone for the sake of making them feel bad.
That's a true bully.
Yeah, I don't do bullying.
It's just to make you feel better.
I will change the word. Will I dominate people intellectually? 100%, 100% of the time. And if you, okay, so here's the same question. Let's just say you're a track star. Okay. You can run the 100-meter dash, right, in 4 seconds. You can run a 4-second 100-meter dash.
I'm amazing.
And somebody comes up to you and says, hey, if you were running against Joe Danyi, who was talking smack and thought he was superior to you, would you run your full sprint? Or would you like take it easy? If that's your gift, right? And someone challenges you, are you going to run all out? Or are you going to make them feel good? Well, intellectually, I will freaking decimate you if you challenge me on an intellectual platform 100% of the time, just like the sprinter is going to make you humble when they run the sub 400 sprint when it's going against you. If I know I can do it and I can decimate you, I'm doing it in 2 seconds.
It still feels like this is more, though, of a defensive bully. I don't even know if it would be bully. You're just defending something, whether it's yourself, your intellect, or whatever. To me, a bully started it. You started it for no good reason. You're being a jerk to someone for no good reason. You have little man syndrome, or you feel bad about yourself and you're insecure and you're going to go tear somebody down to make you feel better. That's a bully. But if someone is bullying you and you go on the defensive and annihilate them.
Let me push that against that.
Okay.
So let's just say, why do bullies do it? Like, it would be an important question to ask when there's a bullying episode. Like, give me the reasons. Like, let's just not take the bullies. What if he had a good reason for using the only thing he has, which is his physical characteristics, to dominate? What if the dude in the classroom, the good guy that was good at math, right? And he's formulating, embarrassed me. Like, he came up with the answer. He was like, oh, maybe you should study harder, right? And then the physical guy was like, well, maybe I don't have the same brain capacity as you, nerd, right? And then he slams him in a locker. Was that not like the intellectual was dominating, embarrassed the guy? So the physical guy dominated and embarrassed you. Isn't that an equal thing?
There's still an instigator, though, and then a defensive reaction.
Just the first person to make a move? So if we're in the classroom and I embarrassed you by coming up with the right answer and I commented that you didn't, did I not instigate?
Well, that's the thing, is like you coming up with the right answer and somebody finding that embarrassing. That's not yet a bully act.
Okay, so if I'm like, oh, why don't you study hard, Blondie?
Now you're being a jerk.
I'm being an instigate.
Yeah.
If I just come up with the right answer, but I wasn't a jerk about it, then it's not an instigation.
No. You got the right answer. What are you going to do? Just dumb yourself down and be like, anybody else? Anybody else? No? Okay. I know the answer. Like, you're there to come up with the answer. That's
what about cockiness? What if math guy was like, oh, I'm the smartest guy in this classroom. This is freaking awesome. So I didn't target Blondie that didn't get the answer, but they're like showing off. You're like,
being a jerk.
Showing off as being a jerk. What if it's a truthful thing? I'm the smartest person in this freaking classroom. Like, I'm really the only person that come up with the answer, right?
Yeah.
Didn't
if you're
target anybody.
arrogant,
Does bullying
then
require
people might want to humble you a
does
bit.
does targeting a specific person versus everyone constitute bullying?
I mean, you can still be bullied. If you're like, I'm being bullied because people don't like my personality in the classroom and they think I'm arrogant. To me, like intent. What's your intention? Are you purposely being arrogant and a jerk?
So if everybody in school is basically mean to everyone else all the time, there can't be bullying because everybody's a douchebag, everybody's an asshole, and everybody deserves bullying.
Everybody's just fighting each
That's
other
exactly
all the
right.
time.
So
Yeah.
if you were like, this dude was so nice, so kind, didn't deserve that, that would be the only instance of bullying.
Right.
But okay, give me a bullying episode, and let's then let investigators find out if that person was the pure soul that deserves us laying down cover fire for someone who was a pure soul. What if they were an asshole in a different category? What if they made people feel bad in another category? What if they were a total jerk to other people in different ways? Did they not deserve the bullying that they got? And that's what I'm saying. Like, bullying keeps people on the defensive so that they're less likely to express themselves in jerk ways, and they have less confidence to wield their skill set to make other people feel bad. And then maybe instead of like 99% of the kids being total douchebags who I would punch in the face because they deserve it, maybe you only have 60% of the people in douchebaggery, and 40% are too scared to be douchebags.
Yeah, like everybody that has these, like, the internet has a lot of keyboard warriors. And we always say, oh, I'd love to see you say that. These things you're typing out to people online, say that to their face in person. And I bet
That's
you
right.
won't. You know, like we have this whole society now that has these like beer muscles that are like, oh, I'm going to say this and say that. I'm like, bet you wouldn't if you were in person.
All right, here's the thing. That's an intellectual pursuit. We've taken the muscles and the punching and the physical attributes out of the equation. Now it's an intellectual pursuit. Now the intellectuals can own you and you can't punch them or hit them back. Isn't it just a different version of the physical?
Yeah, if that's your only weapon.
Societally, though, that we put physical ahead of intellectual. And so far we're a little bit mad that the nerds get to dominate the muscle bound. And let's let that be for a little bit. Let's let the intellectuals dominate a little bit. Let those, gym rats, right, feel a little bit of the same pain that the intellectuals felt when you could wield yourself in person. So you've earned it, bitches. Like, enjoy it.
You've earned it, bitches.
Yes. You made a mistake on your last Facebook post. I corrected you, but you never reply anyway. I still think you're a smart guy, though, Joe. I'd love to have an actual conversation someday, bro.
And he says, I'm being an intellectual bully.
So
Sorry.
Here's the deal. Sometimes I'm a bomb thrower. I don't know if you know this about me. Sometimes I say things for the sake of conversation, just to get people talking about.
You're an instigator.
Something. I am an instigator. Get people riled up. Get people talking about something. Spoiler, it's what I do. So I don't really need, after I've thrown the bomb, to be involved in the conversation. I kind of let it do its thing. I was the catalyst, and I walk away from it.
Yeah.
Me being involved means that I have some kind of emotional thing. It's half the shit I say that I don't even freaking care. Like, abortion is wrong, and I don't think women should kill their babies. And then I walk away and let people say the same things that they say in every conversation. I don't need to be like, no, you're wrong and I'm right. Right? That wasn't my goal. My job was just to push on you, to get you talking about something, let your passion boil over, and now you're on stage. Don't worry about me and my role in it. I don't have one anymore.
You're like, I was just
That's it. The catalyst.
planted the seed.
I'm being an intellectual. No, nobody can be an intellectual bully to me. There are I want to name 3 or 4 people who could really hold me to account on the intellectual level. There's a bunch of people who think they own me, and I kind of let them have it because it makes them feel good. But really, there's only a couple people who are up to my level. And Scott, I'm sorry, you are not one of them. Carl, I'm 46 and still ride my bike. There's nothing like the wind and sun on you as you pedal around. They're also easy to steal if you get drunk and lose one. That seems like This needs to be a larger story. I need to know more about the drunk.
If you get drunk
pedal
and
biking.
lose one, you can just take another.
I need to hear more about this story because if that's a subculture.
Is that
Do you ride a
did that
bike, by the
really
way?
happen? On occasion. I finally got a bike for my birthday about 2 or 3 years ago. I had not ridden a bike since I was a kid. I haven't ridden it since I got it 2 or 3 years ago, but I want to. I just haven't. No, I take that back. I take that back. We went to that bike park a couple months ago. I did ride my bike. Yes. And it was interesting.
All right. So I went to, I was a avid bike rider, 12 speed. Like I loved riding
You were a
bikes.
cyclist.
And I went to Gettysburg. And I don't know if you've ever been to Gettysburg, but Gettysburg is a little hilly, right? It is
Yeah.
not great for a bike tour. And we went there and we rented regular pedal bikes for this tour. And it was the most excruciating tour. It was hard. Like it was running a half marathon for sure. So when we came back, I went and got electric bikes, right? Thinking when I go to these places, I can take these hills and
pedal so hard.
assisted.
Yeah.
Not full, assisted.
Assisted, yeah.
And it ruined the experience for me. Like
Really?
it ruined the experience. Like I've used it a couple times and it filled its role. It's like a little moped that goes around. You don't even feel like you're on a bike trip. It was just mailing it in as far as biking goes. And I swear it's been a couple years since I actually rode a bike and I thoroughly enjoyed it when it was hard to do.
I've seen people, there's a little neighborhood by our house that we walk in the evenings. And there's someone on an electric bike riding through there. And I so badly want to be like, what is it you think you're doing for yourself? Like, this is a flat road, little neighbor. You can't pedal. Can't pedal around here.
Does it actually have the pedal or is it fully electric where you hit the little throttle and it goes?
I think it does have a pedal.
But it's better than nothing. If someone went yesterday was on the couch watching SpongeBob and today they're on a pedal assisted electric bike, still an improvement. Now they should probably go from pedal assisted to physical bike and then more. But if you're just getting started, like I would rather you see anything better than SpongeBob in the couch.
Yeah. Like my husband, he's an avid cyclist. He like does those long, like right across Ohio things. And he has this little spandex gear and he watches Tour de France all the time. And me, I'm like, I'm just gonna do a flat road for a few minutes and just a little leisurely.
It's good. It's fun. But as a kid, did you not have the first enjoyment of freedom when you could go places without asking for a ride? Like
as a kid, the bike was the best.
Yeah.
And that's how you knew where all your friends were. Like all the neighborhood kids, you'd see a bunch of bikes in someone's yard and all the kids are over there.
So this qualifies as almost for a boomer conversation when we reminisce about the nostalgia.
The nostalgia.
And you know, I have a 15-year-old who has a bike.
Yeah.
And it stays on the rack in the garage. And when he wants to go somewhere, he's driven there and he doesn't like do the same things we did. So I'm interested to see how that develops, how social relationships where I spent every freaking day in a baseball field, building something, whatever, tree houses and whatnot. Every day I was with my friends conquering really difficult things. Well, they're just doing a digital version of that where they're conquering digitally. And the analog between those two, I'm interested to see how that plays out in the real world.
It is interesting because I mean, I do remember when I was a kid, we were always outside in the summertime. We were gone all day, every day. And we were in the woods or running from house to house and playing games literally until dark or swimming or doing something. But now it's like the internet age and video games. And part of me is like, God, put down the video game and put down the phone and go get outside. But we lived in a country area that you could run and roam. If you don't, like, does your kid even have that chance?
But why do they need it? So if there's an
era, it was great.
But for you,
it was.
But what if the era of Next is dominated by your abilities in the digital world, and you have to dominate in an area that didn't really exist? You used it as an appliance and something that was nice, but it wasn't your whole world. Well, Gary Vee is probably one of my favorite practical.
I follow him.
Do you?
Gary Vaynerchuk, something V, the entrepreneur.
Vaynerchuk, yeah.
Yeah.
Gary Vaynerchuk. I think I pronounced that right.
Yeah.
But from the practical standpoint, you want every action that you do to be developing towards something that you're going to be able to make use of next. So if the world is going to be super heavy physically, where you're going to need to be able to lift heavy things and engineer whatever, versus in a digital world where you're going to have to outperform people who are doing the same shit that you, which would you have them do? Get them really good at social media, set up principles and guidelines that help them dominate in that era. And then don't, like, for nostalgia's sake, get them good at something that they'll never utilize as an adult in the future. You know, like if you my favorites, and this checks me every single time, because I remember teachers saying that you're never going to have a calculator always in your pocket, right?
Yeah.
And so that wisdom's like, oh, they're probably right based on freaking today.
Yeah.
Right.
Now look at us, calculators everywhere.
Right. So it was wisdom for the moment, but not forward-looking wisdom that can be utilized. You absolutely do have a calculator everywhere you go. In fact, you don't even need to hit the buttons. You can just ask it. You know, and you don't even have to push a button to ask it.
Yeah.
I can ask my phone and it knows.
Look up. You could ask somebody, oh, hey, Google, hey, Siri, hey, whatever. You know what? Another thing like that is I thought it was such a shame when it started to seem like cursive writing was leaving. And it's not gone. And everybody says, oh, they don't teach cursive in school. They do.
Nostalgia.
But like, it is sort of dwindling. And I'm like, no, you got to learn cursive. And then my kids are like, why? And I'm like, we need a signature. No, you don't. Like, everybody just goes on.
Nobody
things.
cares. Nobody checks it.
Yeah.
It's a very analog solution.
It is.
Okay. If you, in your lifetime, how many times that you signed something and someone challenged it that the signature wasn't good enough?
Never.
So what do you think that nothing ever pays attention to your signature as being an authentic way of authorizing something? Trial it out. Trial it out. Just do scribble scratch.
Even on like the back of like credit cards and debit cards,
nobody checks.
It'll be like, must be signed in order to be authorized, whatever. People don't sign that, and it still works. They're not going to take your payment.
They're not going to take a confrontation and say, the thing you signed 10 years ago does not look like the thing you signed. I can't take this.
How about when you pay over the phone? Are they going to say, is it signed on the back? Can you send me a picture of the back signature? Yeah. No, they'll take your money. They don't care what you do.
Human beings are stupid. Scott says, should we not drink the two water because it's known to cause cancer? Everything causes cancer. I don't know if you know about this. Cancer is big business. And so the food companies and sugar providers and all the chemicals that we take is all going to cause cancer, especially the vaccine that you took. It's going to cause cancer too. So if you're looking to not cause cancer, there's a completely different path you have to take. And it's not one many people are willing to take. So don't worry about cancer. You're probably going to get it. And all your decisions are going to add up to that. So the water is not going to cause it on its own, but you're already on that path.
I don't want to get cancer.
So don't.
How?
What is cancer?
Your cells not doing what they're supposed to do, and then they get all like combined, and they don't turn over, and
what we're gonna do?
It's a tumor, and then it's
tumor.
It's not a tumor.
All right, so I'm going to simplify cancer for you.
Okay.
Simplify, right? There's way more complicated than this, so everybody knows this stuff. Do not get mad at me because I've oversimplified this. But for the common understanding, right?
Mm-hmm.
Two big concerns. Number one, zombies. Do you know what a zombie is?
Yes.
Things that's supposed to be dead is not dead.
The undead.
Yeah. Right? So in our body, things are supposed to die, right?
Yep.
If you do certain things and it keeps cells, unhealthy cells, alive so that they're able to replicate, then you create zombie cells. Something that should have died didn't get a chance to die, and now you have things that are supposed to be dead polluting your body. So number one is let things that are supposed to die. That's number one. Number two, you have genetic coding in your body that every year that you're alive gets more deteriorated, right? You take a copy and you take it and put it on the copy machine, right? And it runs off a copy that's a little less good than the one that you put on there. So you take that copy and you put it back on the top, and then you take a copy of the copy that's a little bit worse, and then it gets a little bit worse. There are things that you do that take this genetic coding and deteriorate it faster, don't do any of those things. So my 2 rules of not getting cancer are twofold. Don't decay your your DNA, your genetic encoding. Don't do things that deteriorate that faster. It's going to deteriorate anyway. Don't help it. Number 2, make cells die that are supposed to die. Don't keep those cells alive. That's it.
You're talking about fasting.
Listen, I'm not giving you any health advice.
I feel like you're talking about
I'm not.
fasting.
I'm saying I know you want to keep cells alive because you have an affinity towards them. You have to make them die. Make them die when they should die, so that you can recreate new ones. So create new ones, let the old ones die, and find out all the reasons that make cells, healthy cells, replicate, and ones that are supposed to die, and do all of those things. Not giving you advice, just do those things. Anyway. Say. Okay, this sounds like a challenge. Let's throw down one day. I will. And every one of my detractors, I have cynics. I have haters that follow me around. They listen to the show, and all they do is they take pot shots at me from time to time. And then I invite them to have a real debate, and they come up with 1,000 excuses why they don't want to have a debate.
Is Scott a hater?
Scott is not a hater.
I was going to say, Scott doesn't seem like a hater.
He's not a hater. So he would be low on my list of people who I think it would be interesting to be able to do, because we probably agree on a lot of things. It'd be interesting in different respects, but I really want the people who really disagree with me to sit across from me and hash it out. And I've done that a number of times, and it's always, it always doesn't have that pinnacle that I want it to, because I want them to stay on their method, because they concoct these straw mans about what they think they am. And when they see that I'm not that, they come down like 6 volume levels. And now you just have 2 people agreeing that they overblew the conversation.
Yeah. Because
Right?
I always say all the time, when 2 people are disagreeing or fighting about something, most likely you're actually kind of on the same page. You're misunderstanding each other. Yeah. And when you actually listen and realize the point the other is making, you're like, oh, yeah, I feel, okay.
Do you know what you don't do that most people do?
What?
All right. So most people are inauthentic. All they are is populated with talking points that people adopted from other people. They don't really have any true principles of their own, right? Mm-hmm. I have all of my own principles. So even if they overlap with things you've heard other people say, you will not hear a dialogue from me that's just talking points from some other people. I would say 90% of all people are just an assembly of someone else's ideas. When we talk, these are legitimately 2 people that just have feelings about things. We're not beholden to a narrative. We're not looking to support somebody else's premises.
Yeah.
This is just 2 people talking. So when it comes down to those 2 people talking, and when you start saying something like when we talk about the abortion debate, right? Mm-hmm. You hear what I actually feel. And when you're like, the body autonomy and you can't control a woman's body, I basically suspend all of those things, because that's not really how you feel, right? And I will dig into how you really feel, and you don't truly believe most of what you think you believe. You're a pseudo-intellectual who are using complicated and intellectual ideas that somebody else hatched, and you've just brought them into your own world. And I have no respect for adopted ideas from someone else. So I dig into how you really feel, and if I don't feel like you've really outed your true feelings, then there's never really nothing to discuss.
Yeah. I've always said, if I'm discussing somebody with something and I start hearing those buzzwords, those key phrases that you hear over and over and over again, if that starts coming out of your mouth, let's just be done here. Like, you're going to dig your heels in. You're going to just keep repeating things that you've heard someone else say. You don't actually really look into anything or care about anything. So what are we doing here?
That's right.
You know, and then have you ever seen those people that, depending on who's saying what, they'll like change their mind?
100%.
Like, I know someone that'll come out and just be like, oh my gosh, I can't stand that, and blah, blah, blah. And it shouldn't be this way, and it should be that. And it's like, but what about this? And it should really be blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh yeah, it should be that. And I'm like,
well, most people don't like confrontation. I live for it. I love conflict. It's one of my strong suits. And
hair in my face.
And when you run across someone who then gets all polite and where they wanted to argue when there was no conflict, but when they're in the moment and they know that they're about to get a beat down from intellectual Joe, they change their rate and they're like, oh, they become much more, what's the word?
Docile?
It could be
Become
docile. I want to
more-
say agreeable. They become way
Yeah.
more agreeable on things that in their brain they know there's conflict and they don't want to say it, but they're, for the sake of peace, they're keeping neutral.
I feel like a lot of people have a problem with just simply saying, I don't know, but I feel this way. You know, like I was in a discussion with somebody recently. It was about religion and God and faith and things of that nature. And they want to keep throwing these things in, but what about this? But what about this? And I'm like, I don't have all the answers. This is my experience and this is how I feel about it. And I think you probably should too. I think it's a disservice for you not to, and maybe you should look into it. And but what about that? I was like, I don't know. You have a good point, but I still disagree. You know, like people I feel like are more, I don't know, maybe on the defensive or wanting to like, I'm going to throw these facts and I'm going to prove you're wrong. And I'd be like, you can't really prove me wrong or right. I'm telling you flat out.
All right, so here's a way to tell those people. Like in academics, like, you know, the smart people that were all in your class. Were you one of them, by the way? Were you a smart person in class?
No, I
You were
was not. I was like average. I wasn't
So
a dummy, but I was the average.
You had two types of
student.
academics. Okay.
Yeah.
People who are really good at memorization. They can tell you the whole periodic table, what the mass of all, what the electrons, the whole thing. They memorized it.
Yeah.
Right. And then you had people that were practical utility people, that they didn't memorize any of the stuff. They could go look at the periodic table and grab the information, but they were worried more about what you do with those things. So the useful people were the non-memorizers. So somebody could tell you about the Epstein list and abortion and, you know, national security and international affairs. They've memorized what other people have said and they can throw that shit down. But how you would make use of that and how you would apply that to the real world to make things happen, they're useless, right?
Yeah.
If you need a citation from an encyclopedia on a memorizer, that's great. If I want to know what somebody said and whatever that I didn't feel like going to Grok. But those people are going to be replaced by artificial intelligence because they don't have true feelings. They don't have the logic and principles to do anything with that information. They're just reciters. That's a good way to pick them out.
You ever see, I think we've talked about this before. There's a whole YouTube channel called Jubilee and it's debates.
Yeah.
So-and-so versus so-and-so. And it's all these debates. And what I find so interesting is it's a lot of young people that just start spewing information. And a lot of it is factual and data. And I so badly want to be like, did you know you were coming here today? And so you went and studied for it.
Exactly.
Because nobody just knows these
Would you be
facts.
more impressed with someone who just on the fly had a discussion and didn't do any research on it and just talked to you about how they felt about it and what they know about it?
Yes.
Huge
Yeah.
advantage.
Every time someone will be like, well, I can't believe you think that because studies show that so many % of this is wrong and you're a dummy for not knowing that. I'd be like, well, I'm the dummy. You just Googled that before this conversation.
Henry, I'm telling you, this is my favorite story. It's the Henry Ford story.
Yeah.
You know Henry Ford?
I know the name.
Yeah. And so there was an attempt to publicly humiliate Henry Ford as a really dumb person. In a court, on the stand, prosecutor or whoever was going up against, I don't know if it was a hearing or if there was an actual court case, but they tried to humiliate him and frame him as a dumb person. Right. And it resonates with me almost every single day of my existence after hearing this story, where the prosecutor started asking him memorization things like how many soldiers went off to the war in World War I, what the things that you could memorize, like what's the capital of whatever. And they tried to embarrass him that he didn't know that. He said, and this was impactful for me. He said, I have a red phone on my desk, right? I do not hamper my brain with memorized knowledge. If I need to know any of that stuff, I hit a button on it and I ask this person and they tell me the thing that I need to know. And to me, that's so deep. And I think about that endlessly, about how smart people had to try to orient themselves with memorization, and it's pseudo intelligence.
Yeah.
Because they don't know what to do with it. Where you have a guy that's assembling cars and putting mass amounts of labor and, the assembly line and and actually did something of merit that mattered, and you're trying to embarrass him because he doesn't know what the capital of Ecuador is.
Yeah.
Right? And how are those two things righted? And how certain people are like, oh, he doesn't know how many soldiers went off to the battalion in World War I. And they're like, do you know that? No, but he should. He's an important person, right?
Yeah.
That happens so often. And I'm like, I almost put those people in a box, those embarrassers. Like, do you know that abortions are 17.5%? And it happens to women in Uganda. And I'm like, I don't fucking know that. Who knows that? Like, that's not even important. The principle is, let's not kill babies, okay? Let's figure out a way to do less of that instead of more of that. And if you're on my side, you mean you want to preserve life, okay? All the other stuff is ancillary and doesn't solve any kind of problem. All this is endless loop battle of people who are one side fighting for more and one side fighting for less, and that's it. So let's try to do less, because we can all agree that killing babies is probably a bad thing no matter how you frame it. Cool. That's the beginning, the origin of the conversation.
You reminded me of a saying that I liked.
Okay.
This is a little off subject, but when you said this Henry Ford thing was big, I love the quote by Winston Churchill. Something like he was at a party or something once, and there was drinking, and a woman came up to Churchill and said, "Sir, you are drunk, and I find that despicable." And he was like, "Madam, I know that I am drunk, just as I know you are ugly." And he says, "But in the morning, I shall be sober."
See?
Mic drop.
Yeah. Bringing the intellectual quote. I love it.
And if anybody signs on here and says, actually, the quote was this, I'm going to scream, because
No, I got the spirit of the quote. I
Yes.
got it.
Even if it's paraphrasing, we get
Scott
it.
says I have to run. You two are great. Have a nice day. Thank you, Scott.
Have a good one,
Appreciate you.
Scott.
Let's see. Just because you say all due respect doesn't mean you can say what you want. We had a moment. I didn't bring this up. I'm glad Dennis did. That the predicates, like when you lay something down where you're about to be rude, not to be rude, but and then you say a rude thing. We do that for some reason.
Yes, I tell my daughter that all the time. She leads with that. She'll be like, not to be rude, but or I don't mean to be rude. And I said, but I bet you're about to say something rude. If you have to lead with that, I bet it is.
So if I say something to be stupendously egotistical and then say something egotistical, is that good because I at least gave you the premise that I'm about to be?
You were like, no offense. And I was like, no, full offense.
Yeah, full offense. I'm looking to rip your soul out with the words I'm about to say, and here it is. You have more respect for that because it's honest, at least.
I know. Yeah, I have said to people before, rather than being like, not to be rude, but blah blah blah, I'll say this may come across as rude, and I'll say I don't intend it to be. I don't mean it to be. But the words in my head sound like it may come off that way. And I'll lead with that.
That's passive aggressive light.
Yeah.
At least I give you the light version.
Yeah. Yep. It's like I'm still gonna say it, but I'm giving you a warning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Me, I don't set those soliloquies ahead of it. I just say the
You're
thing,
just
and
like,
it just
hey,
kind of works
idiot.
itself out.
F
Works
you.
itself out. Scott says I'm not one of them. I beg to differ. No chat GPT. You and I on the show, any topic.
We'll set that up, Scott.
Done deal, Scotty. We are not definitely on the same level. I'll agree with that. Dennis says my 73-year-old mom. Hold on, my 73-year-old mom with replaced knees can't do the hills in our neighborhood, so she uses the bone and pedal system.
The bikes, like the electric bikes, maybe.
Oh yeah,
that's a perfectly good reason.
It is the
e-bike.
It is a margin better than where you were at, and I count all appreciations in that margin as an appreciation. I appreciate when someone tries to better themselves, even if it's marginally.
How do you feel about those segways? Have you ever ridden a Segway?
I have a Segway, yeah.
I've never ridden one.
I'll bring it into work. We'll do a Segway.
Yes, I want to do it.
It requires a little bit of balance and figuring out what it does.
Trying to it's a little scary.
So I went to the Canfield Fair a couple years ago. We set up a broadcast booth out there. and they didn't allow any kind. I mean, I had equipment that I had to carry out of there every freaking night.
Yeah.
And they didn't allow golf carts. They didn't allow any kind of transport. I was like 2 miles away from my car. So I bought a Segway in order to, so I got these cases of equipment. I jump on the Segway and I get myself around the Canfield Fair. That was why I got it.
Nice.
Yeah.
We need to bring this to the fair.
What? We did
This
that once.
show.
We did that once.
Real, like where you could go live
We
online from
interviewed
the
people.
fair.
We did the Dan Rivers show out there. We did broadcasts out there.
Why don't we do that?
Because I'm a petty asshole is what it is. Like I had a bad experience there and it sullied it.
Really?
Yes.
Experience it with the fair
with people-
organizers?
While I
or
was there, it was good. But dealing with those people, like I had a lot of bad
what, the
interactions.
general public
No,
at
general-
a fair?
No,
Oh.
no, the people managing the fair. I had a bad
Yeah, the
experience.
people, the organizers, and the people
just didn't have
running.
didn't have a great experience. A couple of bad
Hmm.
experiences was like that was a lot of effort. I did a really nice thing for a lot of people, and there were some people that were considerate and they helped and they were nice about it. And there were some people who were blatant idiots that made it not worthwhile.
Wow.
And so I didn't swear it off, but until we can rectify that portion of it, I'm not willing to put myself through that again.
I've noticed they don't really have even radio stations out there anymore. Is that just because the radio personalities are so
They
few
used
now,
to
or-
make it a big deal where it was purpose for doing it. It wasn't just a branding deal where you see the place. They made it integrated in the fair and how patrons did it. And then they hid people away, didn't make it a big deal, didn't make it a spectacle. So it was less worthwhile.
Yeah, like I years and years ago I worked for Hot 101 and they had a big thing. We had like the birthday wheel out there and all the personalities did your show live from the fair and people could win prizes and it was like a whole thing.
Yeah, that's
And
when it was done
then-
well.
Yeah, and then it kind of moved to just set up a table and say hi. And now it's kind of
Yeah, and if
fizzled
it's not
altogether.
part of it, if media's not part of it and it's just about food and rides, so be it. But I think the fair didn't underscore the attention that the people got that were going there versus the experience for the people.
Well, and then radio itself started to dwindle and you didn't have anyone.
Right.
I mean, like they start layoffs and then there's nobody working there. So how are you going to be out at the
It's
fair?
exactly right. And consumers did this. I'm not going to blame radio stations.
Right.
I mean, the reason that we're doing this right now is every week someone was saying, we need local talk. We need local personalities that can talk about issues that we know and can interact with and we can get to know. And then every radio station's like, hey, let's consolidate this all and syndicate it so that the guy in California is the one hosting the show. And that's good enough, right? They were cool with 50% of the listeners like, we don't want that. And it created the environment for what we're doing right now. If they didn't get rid of that as part of what they do, there would be no demand for what we're doing right now. So I am thankful that the individual people have been neglected like they are, or else we wouldn't be able to do this right now. So thankful. Dennis says, that's my yard. You took off the meme on face. You took that meme off of. I do. I hijack memes constantly. Do you?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm a thief. I know it.
I share stuff all the time because I'll see somebody wrote something and I'll say, that's exactly how I feel.
One of my original mentors say by the third time that you use something, it is yours. So if I take a quote and it was Teddy Roosevelt, right? By the third time I've said it, it's now mine and I could be attributed on it. I get a little disappointed sometimes when I take a fantastic quote, right? And then find out that they weren't the originator. And I'm like, no, this was Socrates for sure. And I get a little disappointed. Almost like when I hear a song and then I find out it was a remake, and I'm like, that's not you, that's freaking Queen.
Yes. There's a bunch of songs now that like I'll find myself jamming to, and then I'll be like, God, all you did is took this other song, you changed a couple of lyrics, and now you're famous off of it. Or how about Anxiety? Have you heard the song Anxiety? Don't try
Sing it for me. That'd be good.
Yeah, it's Gautier's Somebody I Used to Know, and they changed the lyrics. But then I'm like, I can't even get mad about it because songs I love are that same thing too.
Well, when you're looking to express an ideal and somebody's already done it better than you might as well. But the only requirement, what I don't do, I'm a complete hypocrite, is attribute it back to the originator of that.
Yeah,
But
you have to give
because
credit.
they probably didn't originate it either, so I just deprived them of credit, and I would just screenshot it below what they said, and I'll put my own verbiage. And so long that it's my verbiage, my commentary on it is original, then it's my meme.
Well, and they do say, like, if you're writing a paper in class and you need to know, do I need to cite this or not? They do say if it's something that is so common knowledge now that it's everywhere, then you don't need to cite
don't
it.
cite anything. Like, I think everybody
So
should,
everything will go that way.
should AI have to cite where they got the information that they gave to you? When I want to know what 2 + 2 is, do I need the abacus that originated the answer? No. AI has stolen music and information and TV.
We only want to know the source if we disagree with it.
Exactly.
That's not true. Where'd you get that?
Yeah. So if you hear anything from me on social media, it is all me. Might have been inspired by, but it's all me.
I do know somebody else I see, they post statuses, and I'm not talking about sharing a meme. Like when I share something, you could see it came from someone else. They will just type out a status. And yeah, I'd be like, oh, I just saw that written in a meme a few times.
Right.
And everyone's like, oh, you're so funny. And I do feel some kind of way. I was like, you're not funny.
Don't
You're
feel that way.
copying.
No, did you think it was funny? And that's why you posted it? Then it represents you. And I will attribute it to Kellen. I will attribute it to Kellen.
Do you not know my name?
I did that for dramatic effect. Sorry.
Keelan.
Yeah. But anyway,
I've even shared stuff and I'll write, what in the Kellen is this?
what's that called, Joe, when cells die? That's called autophagy. So
don't Google it. Ooh, autophagy.
was that a challenge from
He
Scott?
just said, what's it called? Don't Google it.
Was that a challenge in real time to see if Joe's as smart as he thinks he is?
That go the way you thought it would, Scott?
Oh,
nope.
Like now he's gonna think of something obscure that nobody knows.
Yeah,
Scott.
Scott.
I'm gonna have to Google it.
I thought he had to go. Like, like 20 minutes ago, he's like, gotta go, have a great day. And then he's like, hey, Joe, what's celotophagy?
I don't hate you, Joe. I know. And I know you and Julie and Kristen, you can all take the portions of me that I dole out. And I know I'm not being mean and sort of like, I'm not trying to squash you, but you are really good at volleying with me. And always, like, Morris Ray is probably my favorite volleyer. He is so impassioned in his book. Morris Ray. Mo Ray. He was a personality on 570. Huge liberal. And love everything about the dude. He has such a kind heart, really intelligent guy, and we disagree on almost everything. And most of the time, I'm a listener because, I know that I don't have everything right. And so when you truly have a person that you appreciate their depth of knowledge, you should be in absorption mode, right?
Yeah.
And so if I feel like if I was in volley mode with him, I would miss half the stuff I can glean from him. Even if I don't agree with your overall premise, the lead up to that, I get inspiration from, and maybe I get to check some of my beliefs, and maybe I have something wrong along the way. That's how the pursuit of science and academics should work.
Yeah.
Is not necessarily defending your righteousness, right? It is being humble enough to know that maybe you don't have enough information yet to have make a decision on something.
And that's what I would do even when it's like election time. I will seek the opinions of people that I hold in high regard. I'll be like, you seem intelligent, you seem in the know, you seem like somebody who's reasonable, somebody that's not just going to like dig their heels in on an issue regardless of information that you're given. What do you think? Because that's something I would truly consider coming from. And sometimes I agree and sometimes I don't. I may say, you know what? I still think you're all those great things, but on this we differ.
Okay, so car salesman. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to listen to information that comes from a car salesman because they have a vested interest and they're going to tell you all the great things, and they are not going to highlight anything you really need to know about something to make an informed decision.
Yeah.
Right. But do you think if you were a participant, if you were a victim of the car salesman, and if they told you, like, if you were like, well, they better just be super honest and tell me everything, and you didn't ask any question, you didn't probe, you didn't push back, and then you left it thinking, see, all they do is try to sell me a car and I didn't get any good information out of it, versus taking a car salesman, letting them go through their diatribe because you can agree that they want to sell the car and you're a buyer. And so you know what they're going to try to do. But do you think you can glean information from someone who has a vested interest and still get good information if you do your part as the conflict person, right? To be able to still get information out of that person. Absolutely. If you can get over the first point, right? Not taking exception to the self-interest of selling you a car. If you don't get hung up on that part and you just get down to the data, you get beyond that point super fast and just get to the data. What's this mile per gallon? And what's the lifetime of this? And knowledge that they have, but they're not going to tell you unless you freaking ask.
Yeah. Yeah. Not like, you'd look great in this. You'd look great behind. Okay. Can you just
But whose
tell me?
responsibility? The self-interested person that's not going to tell you? Or is it your responsibility to get information from someone who's going to be a little bit opposed to telling you something you might not want to hear?
Yeah. You need to know what you need to know and
be better
ask.
fighters out there. Absolutely.
Yep. Gosh, we have so many comments.
Jerry says, Joe, from a data standpoint, there are many ways to limit getting cancer through informed lifestyle changes, but it is impossible to guarantee you will never develop cancer. Yes. And we don't do all or nothings on this show.
Yeah.
All we do is having an advantage that you are working on right now. So if you don't eat Twinkies, it doesn't mean you're not going to get fat, but you can do a bunch of stuff in succession that gives you better odds than doing nothing. And a lot of human beings will take I'm not going to do anything unless I can take a magic pill that gives me 100% certainty. I'm not even going to gamble that way, right?
Yeah.
And I'm saying if there are 40% of the stuff in your control, right, and there's 60 that are dependent on other people, well, you better damn sure you're doing all 40 that you can control before you complain about anything that somebody else is doing. And that's my main point.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and for the weight loss example, again, you'll hear people say, well, I have this physical ailment and it's very difficult to lose weight.
Yes.
And I say, it may be. You may have to work harder than a lot of other people. But you realize that when you work, you're also increasing your bone health and sleeping better at night and controlling your cravings for bad food. And you're helping your skin and you're doing all these other things and maybe losing a little weight. But all of that is like, but I won't lose very much. What's the point? I have this other issue though, so who cares?
So if you have a 60% chance of something happening that's out of your control and 40% of it's in your control, when you do the things that make it more likely than 60%, aren't you a participant in the bad thing from happening, even if you're not the majority of it? 100%. Literally.
You're in the one. Yes, 100%.
Let's see. Did he just refer to himself as intellectual Joe in the third person, no less? And I love you, Joe. We would have a great conversation. Yes, I do that a lot.
Especially because we've all pointed out that he's AI.
Yes,
AI keeps calling himself by his own name.
Yes, I do that a lot. And it's funny to me. And so when I do non-complimentary dialogues, I'm usually talking to myself, but I just do it publicly. And when I do complimentary dialogues, I'm just saying it to piss people off 100% of the time. Okay. So if I'm saying something nice about myself, I just trying to get the trolls to come out of the forest and start throwing apples at me.
Yeah.
100% of the time.
I think everybody does third person sometimes.
Joe does all the time.
Yeah. I've seen if I have something to do tomorrow, but I could do it today, I say, well, future Kellen's going to be so happy if I do it right now. And then I'll get to tomorrow and it's already done. I'd be like, oh, I love past Kellen.
Past Kellen is a great person.
Future Kellen loves past Kellen because she did this for me.
I do that on days where I know I'm going to have a hangover. Like past Joe sets up some Advil and some Gatorade.
Yep, you got to have a game plan.
And then when present Joe goes up to past Joe's conveniences, I'm like, Joe, you're a nice person. You are a good dude.
I have also, though, gotten to future Kellen and said, all right, I'm very glad that drunk past Kellen had the wherewithal to take something for a headache and drink a lot of electrolytes and get some food in her before this morning. But this morning, Kellen might leave a note on the nightstand for even future Kellen and say, just don't drink it at all.
Is that an example of time travel, by the way?
Yeah.
It is.
Because there's past, present, future Kellen.
and you can interact with all the versions.
And I can
Sometimes
talk
in the
to
same-
future Kellen,
100%.
and then future Kellen gets a note from past Kellen.
That would be anticlimactic if time travel was just that.
Is it
Using
time travel or is it schizophrenia?
Dude, don't shame my version of time travel. I want to respect it for what it
Yes.
is, that you can travel to a future version of you and do good things for that and give yourself advantages in the future.
I had a really weird experience the other day.
Yeah.
This is getting way off the subject, but
No, we don't have a subject.
Yeah.
We do not. Ask
It's just
BJ
what
right
we
now
do.
who's writing up descriptions of what this is going to be about. And he's like, what the F are these people doing?
so I don't know if this is any way, shape, or form loosely on different planes or time or whatever, but it's just something I used my brain to do that I thought, man, that's cool that we have brains and we can do that. For no reason whatsoever, I was thinking the other day, I was watching a YouTube video and somebody mentioned like a charm or something on a piece of jewelry. And I went, I've seen that recently. I've seen that, a charm, just like what they're talking about. And my brain brought like a computer. My brain brought it up and I was staring at it in my brain and I was like, where did I see that? Where did I see that? I saw that somewhere. I know where I saw that. Where did I see that? And then it went, so-and-so was wearing it, I think. And then I saw that person later and I went, there it is. It has absolutely no utility in my life, except I went, our brains are kind of cool. Like I literally just pictured like a robot movie with data going. I saw that. Oh, that makes me think of this thing. I saw, and a picture instantly in my head of someone's here to here, and I couldn't see their face, and I didn't know who it was. And I went, I saw somebody wearing that the other day. Who was it? And I had to stop and think, and then I went, I think it was so and so. And then I saw them later, and sure enough, I was like, there it is.
Brain's awesome.
It is. And again, everyone's like, oh, you're weird. So what? So somebody had a necklace on, you noticed it. You saw a video, made you think of their necklace.
I don't think it's weird
and
at
then you
all. That
backtrack to
level of recalling memories that way, where you
Yeah.
sorted through your own synapses, like that's amazing.
Here's another example. Just last night, I was at my daughter's soccer game, and my son always goes off and he plays with little friends. He never sits and watches the game. They play in some other field. And I went to look around. I was like, hey, does anyone see him? Just want to make sure I know where he is. And somebody who was there with me was like, what color shirt was he wearing? Was he in a black shirt? Was he in it? And I went, what color shirt was he wearing? And I immediately went to where he was sitting next to me a minute ago. My brain went, look at him next to you. What was he wearing? What was he wearing? And then before the game, we were making stupid videos on social media. And I went, what was he wearing in that video? I watched that video 8 times. What was he wearing? And I said, I think it's a gray shirt. Sure enough, it was a gray shirt. But just like you would see in a TV show that someone's a robot, I almost hear this like, where all these like pictures are coming into my mind. And I'm like, he was gray. It's got to be a gray shirt, Isn't that like weird and cool at the same time?
Can we talk about this? Because this is one of my wheelhouses.
Yes.
I'm really good at this. So those of you who don't use this skill set, it's worth practicing. Now I want to give you a when I was younger version and then stuff I use today. Okay. So when I was younger version, there was a movie. It was about the CIA. And they would take new recruits into a diner, right? And then they wouldn't say anything, and they would just have them observe. And I think it was, who was it? But anyway, they would ask them about recollection of people who were in the diner, who was wearing a red hat, what was the details of the person that was eating at the far part of the counter without going strictly from memory, but taking a complete inventory of the people who are in that diner, right?
Yeah.
And if you practice it, right,
Yeah.
then especially being a dad, there's certain things that we do. Like we put ourselves between our family and the door. Somebody comes in with ill intent. We have to make sure that we defend. And so we're paying attention to things like who's likely to do harm. Guy with the backpack, guy that has a sawed-off shotgun, guy that has a hoodie on.
Yeah.
Like we are taking all these categories and finding out threat assessments for people that are in that. So I did that when I was younger. I practiced on memorizing people who are in the same room as me. Never really able to use that. Nobody's ever, made a move on the diner door that, that I was in,
Knock
but
on
I
wood.
still prepare for it as if I did. But the second one that I use every day, I drive a motorhome, right? And in a motorhome is not like your car. In a car, you have like 8 windows that you can look through at any given time to see where everybody's at, cars, people, obstacles and whatever.
Yeah.
In a motorhome, you have a front window. Everything else is obscure, right? You have no
Anxiety.
rear, whatever. So
Yeah.
what you have to do when you're driving is when you drive by people, like you use your speed and where you're at on the roadway to basically bring cars, car colors, car types, people, things, and whatever. And then in your mind, keep track of them, that they're in your circle, right? So if I'm looking in my mirror and I see a red car merge into the freeway, I can't see that red car, but my brain knows that red car's there. I can't get into the right lane until I've identified who's around me and where they're at. And so most of the time is me looking at every observable piece of information that I can get and figuring out, like, if I have 5 people on my radar, as long as I account for them, I know no one's in the lane next to me and I can get over. So on a 6-hour trip, a majority of the mental overhead is paying attention to what's around you and keeping track of it. And, I've had cars disappear on me, right? Where I was tracking this happened this last weekend, a gray pickup truck, and he's supposed to be in the left lane. And I'm looking around and I don't know where the gray car is. He's not beside me. He's not on the left of me. He's not ahead of me, whatever. And I have to figure out where gray car went before I can, because if you get off on the freeway, if you stop and pull over, I can take account for that. But if you just up and disappear and I don't know where you went, like, it causes a red flag to go up.
You can't change lanes if you don't know if he's right next to you.
Yeah. So that happens every once in a while. But if you take that analogy and you apply it, that when you're at a theme park or you're at a restaurant or whatever, you practice keeping track of who's doing what and where, you'll see that for the most part, everything's pretty trackable. Human beings are very slow. There's very abrupt movements that you can't keep things on your radar. Who's sitting behind you. Like if I question you when you walked into a room saying, look at me, don't break eye contact. Who's sitting at the bar and what are they wearing? Who's next to them and do they have anything in their hand? What's on their dinner plate and who's serving them? Right?
Yeah.
Do you think you could do it with any kind of resolution?
Without knowing you were going to do this?
You got to do this naturally.
Yeah.
You can't study for it.
Maybe a little bit. Because that's the thing I was telling you is, like, it is interesting if you're told ahead of time, scan the room, make note, there's going to be questions. And that can still be impressive. And like you're talking about, like, assessing threats. It's so funny. I just did this several weeks ago. I was in a parking lot somewhere and I'm on the phone with my husband. And it's been hot around here, 80 something, close to 90 something for days on end. And I see someone walking through the parking lots in a winter coat with the hood up and a hat underneath. And I went, why is someone dressed like that? It's 85 degrees outside. And so I told my husband, I was like, black hat, white and blue coat, long sleeves, black pants. And I said, I'm saying this in case that dude's on the news or in case somebody's looking for somebody, because that, like, spidey sense, that's not normal. But what's really cool is when I'm not actively trying to remember or look for something and it sticks out on its own. Like instances like this all the time. We were up at the lake over the 4th of July and we're in my aunt's cottage and we're in this back room where they have some storage and we're looking for something in particular. I can't remember what it was we were looking for. Paper or something? I don't even know. And I happen to kind of glance over and there's a pair of scissors there that have a purple handle. And I'm looking for something else and we go about our day. Well, later that night, we're in the kitchen and someone's looking for scissors. And there's like, well, normally I have scissors in here but I don't know where they went. There's a purple handle and they're normally here, but they're not here. And I went, I know where scissors with a purple handle are. And I went and I was like, these ones? Yeah. And I said, nothing else in that room stuck out to me. I don't remember what we were actually in there for. I don't remember what we did in there. I couldn't tell you out of shelves of things I could name maybe 2 things that are in that room. I don't even know. But something in my brain went, scissors with a purple handle. Might need that later.
Good practice.
And I didn't do it on purpose. That happens to me all the time. I will see something and my eyes will go, person in a gray coat. Might need that later. And I don't know I'm doing it. I just think, oh, just happen to be looking around. There's a tree. There's a person in a gray coat. There's a car. There's a blue ride. And then someone later will go, oh my gosh, I can't. So-and-so, they were wearing a gray coat. And I went, I know there's someone in a gray coat. I just saw them. Couldn't tell you anything else. But it is like the universe goes, hey, look at this.
It's not
look
the
at
universe.
This.
No.
It's what?
No, you need to, you're going to practice it. And what you're going to take from that is you emotionalize your memory. Like if I put you under hypnosis right now, your subconscious would give me that same information because you emotionalized, you felt a way about something, either through fear, excitement, whatever, and you emotionalize your brain to start picking up on details that you otherwise would have missed. So emotion is the fuel to get that to happen. So next time you walk into a diner, I want you to use that mechanism and say, if I, let's just say excitement, right? I could remember someone's necklace if they had big tits, right? Because it emotionalized it and my memory would be paying it.
You're like, ooh.
Right? Where I wouldn't have noticed a necklace without the big tits. I wouldn't. So it would be, if you can use your brain's natural state and say, okay, when does it like to remember things? When does it have perfect recollection on something? When I'm afraid, when I'm suspicious, what all the negative emotions, then use that and create negative emotions when you walk into that diner, and you'll remember things because you're using a natural mechanism of your brain. So
you think when something stood out to me, even like the scissors, something in my subconscious was like,
there was a moment,
like maybe, hey, we might need scissors later.
Exactly. It will be a natural occurring event. If you didn't do it on purpose, then it happened naturally, and you can reverse engineer it and find out what caused your memory to lodge that one, opposed to where did I put my car keys or whatever. Yeah.
I mean, I've even said to myself, it has happened where, again, I'll just kind of glance at something, and that could be it. It's just glancing, and I go on. And now I'll even tell myself, wonder if I'll need that later. Like, why did that thing catch my eye? And it could be so insignificant, seemingly. Why did I just stare at that a little longer than I stared at everything else? I bet you I'll see that again later.
It's not mysterious. You're using an actual mechanism of how your mind works, and you can use it. And what I'll tell you is what seems hard now, when you practice it, it happens automatically. Well, when I first started paying attention to cars as I'm driving by them, I had to like really focus and pay attention and keep a mental checklist in my brain. Now it just happens automatically, where someone say, hey, what car's on the right of you? I'll say red, blue, and green, and one's traveling faster than whatever, and one's an old guy that's on the phone. He's not even paying attention. And it just happens naturally because I've given instruction to my brain to pick up on the things that I'm interested in. And I'm not using negative stuff. I'm using, I feel at most peace when I have more information than I actually need. So I actually accumulate information that I'll never use, knowing that I don't have to think about it, and it doesn't take any mental overhead.
My mom used to ask me all the time, how do you know every word to every song on the radio and you can't remember how to do a math problem? And I would say, because I like music. And
so was that a jerk comment that she was making, or was she trying to
No, it was an actual question.
Okay.
Yeah, right. It was an actual, and dances. She's like, you can learn choreography in a matter of minutes. You can watch somebody do a line dance. You watch them, got it. And she's like, but somebody will teach you how to solve this math equation over and over and over again. And it just doesn't click. And I'd be like, I don't know, other than the fact
I wish I knew you when you were younger. I would have filled in
my tutor.
Those pregnant dots afterwards where we pointed out a problem. It just needs a little bit more engineering to solve.
Yeah.
I could have just filled that in.
Because you know what I was told?
What?
I was told you have a learning issue with math because you have a problems with sequencing and you can't remember sequencing. And I went, do you not think learning dance steps is sequencing? It's exactly what it is.
That is my objection to every kid having ADHD and every person having a learning disability and every person having eating disorder and everybody have all these excuses that let people off the hook rather than teaching them how to overcome something that's
Telling
hard.
the story of lyrics in a song, learning a line dance is all sequencing. And they're like, oh, you have a problem with sequencing. No wonder you can't do math.
Take this medication, Kelin, because it's definitely the medication that's going to solve it, not your practices and disciplines. Frickin' people. Carter says, I have a
people.
Segway used to ride it at the beach in Southern California on the stand. Fun could be could ride it to bars.
Sand.
Oh, sand. John says, best ever. I don't know what they're referring to. I can't click on it right now, but thank
Car
you.
culture on 422.
Rob says it was always great entertainment to listen to everybody lose their minds when Mo Ray would fill in for us. I loved it. It was my favorite. That's why he is my favorite, because he does not shy away from saying what he feels, and he knows it's going to disrupt the status quo and make people think more than they did. Now, I would say percentage-wise, 90% of the reactions that he got were just programmed responses that didn't force anybody into new territory as thinking. But 10% of the people, when they get checkmated like that, when you're in your echo chamber and somebody comes in and says something that's off-putting to you, and then it forces you to either listen, right, and contemplate versus respond and try to checkmate them.
Yeah.
Like, really the listen part is what people have the most. But I loved it as well.
I've heard people say all the time, most people listen to respond rather than listen to understand.
For sure.
Is this a different Mo than used to be on there like Rock 104 years ago? There was a Mo around here on the radio.
When I knew him, he was all talk.
Okay,
no
different
music
Mo
side,
then. Yeah.
He works at an NPR station right now.
Okay. Yeah, there was a guy years and years ago. I think it was Rock 104. I'm sure people know who I'm talking about. His name was Mo, and he was sort of like that almost kind of controversial nighttime.
Yeah, he's very politically astute, very articulate. The dude knows his stuff. Very passionate.
You think people listen to debate, not listen to understand?
Oh, they love fighting with him. Yeah, because all right. So one of his kryptonite, and every radio personality has their kryptonite, and his was that he was so passionate that he would let pushback and conflict get to him. So he liked to fight, but the fight sometimes got to be too much for him, and I would watch him personally suffer for his principles. And I knew that he was willing to be a martyr for how he felt about things, but I always felt bad because, he would invite the conflict at the same time not being able to stomach the conflict.
Yeah.
And so he's much needed in the discourse, but people are really mean to him, especially from that strata of political talk. So we need him back, but I know why he's not involved in political talk anymore for that reason. What do you think my kryptonite is? I'll tell you yours.
What do I think your kryptonite is? That's a good question.
How can you own me?
Every example I go to say it's one thing, and then I think of an example of where it wasn't that thing. So it's almost like it's only on occasion. But if I had to think of something like every time it would work, I don't know. Because you can't even say, is it go after your intelligence and say you don't actually know anything. But
people do that all the time.
Yeah.
Like, that's nothing.
So I'm like,
I'll tell you, I'll give the secret sauce. If you ever want to own me, right?
Yeah.
It's introspection. I do listen to other people and I do contemplate. So if you want to overrun me, you would make me, which you can very easily, contemplate a belief, a principle, or whatever. So
you would doubt.
Make me doubt. Exactly. Because I'm addicted to new information. So if you gave me new information, I would take pause and contemplate it. If you want to overrun me, give me a bunch of new data points that were impossible to prove or disprove, make me question something that I believed and have doubt on something that yesterday was pretty solid. And today I'm like, oh, well, she said it and I can't prove it or disprove it. Maybe she's right a little bit. Maybe I'm wrong a little bit. And you can tailspin me just for introspection. That's my kryptonite.
But if somebody came at you and they're like, you're stupid, you don't know anything.
No, it would actually be something of substance, something that had merit, could be contemplated, but was unprovable. That's how you get me.
Like just enough truth to make you doubt.
Well, I'm not even going to say it's BS. Like when somebody talks environmentalism to me, right? We're talking about a topic that is unprovable. And so when you say, if you said something like, science is settled and whatever, well, you're dead to me. Like that is meaningless. But if you brought up that says, well, here's a topic and I've got to build a little bit of humility and here's some data that I'm coming from a perspective of I'm cool with being wrong too. I would take you seriously and you could make me go down that spiral.
So someone could manipulate you.
Yeah,
that
I had
way.
I had almost an hour conversation with AI about global warming, and it raised some points that a human being would never raise with me, and it got me thinking in a couple of different areas that
Kind of like I've told people when they get on the, oh my God, you're not a flat earther, are you? Oh, flat earthers. I've told people, I said, listen, I am not a flat earther, but I know a guy that will make you question it.
yes,
I
that's me.
said,
That's
yeah,
me.
yeah, is
That's
it you?
me.
I said, I know someone where maybe he won't change your mind, but you sure as hell will be like, that's a good point, though.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Because I'm not a
Okay.
bullshit artist. It's not. I will never take something I know to be untrue and try to make you believe it. It's
Yeah.
contemplative things that I'm not sure about. I'm going to tell you that this is a data point that I don't know either, but it's interesting to think about. So if the earth is flat, I can give you 10 different reasons why I don't know that it's flat, but I also don't know that it's a sphere.
Yeah.
And that in your brain is like, I can't
like,
I can't compute that. That's
"Whoa."
odd. I never thought about it that way.
Goes against what I choose to believe.
Exactly. But that's an origin of curiosity. And so if you took my curiosity, you could wield it as a weapon against me. And that's really the only thing that
Oh.
if you wanted to own me, get me to death spiral in new contemplations and doubt.
All right. How do you own me? I'm sure there are many ways. You said you would tell me what mine is, so you must know. I bet
All right.
there's a lot.
I would say I would use your good nature against you. I would make you defer to your politeness and your willingness to learn, and I would own you with your good spirit. And that would make me a really bad person, and you would have to be a bad person, but that's your kryptonite.
Like, what do you mean? How so?
You have a willingness of agreeable. You want to get along. You want to just know. You want everybody to be nice. And so your brain would take you, in spite of better judgments, you would defer to agreeableness. And I would totally leverage that.
And I think, too, it would probably kind of like you said, where there would have to be enough doubt there, because somebody could say something about me and it could either totally upset me, like, that's not true, and I feel this desire to push back, and you don't understand me, and that's not right at all. But if it's so outlandish, I almost go, that's so ridiculous, I'm not even justifying it with a response. Like, I know it's not true. I'm pretty sure you know it's not true,
and
and I'm not even fighting it.
That's what I would do
It's that
for you.
balance. Yeah.
So because I know you'd be willing to take a personal shot for the sake of peace and agreeableness and non-conflict, that's your kryptonite. Just now you know of it, you know how to defend against it.
And I have found, I have been in instances where I needed to be tough and authoritative and disregard someone's feelings and just be like, I've got to be very blunt and maybe almost mean to get this point across and get in your face. And it's needed and it's warranted. And then I feel bad.
And then you cry later.
And then later I was like,
yeah, right.
I didn't want to do that to them.
Yeah, but everybody can have courage and be brave in that moment. Like, everybody can fight a lion as long as most of the time they're not fighting a lion. The true, like, warriors fight lions all the time. And so they get so used to fighting a lion, they don't cry afterward because it's not something they had to gear up to get into.
Yeah.
It's just what they do. But the sort of the relationship between those two people are, if you are the nurturer and I'm the warrior, you respect the warrior nature because you would never want to be in lion mode all the time.
Yeah.
And I would respect the nurturer side, and I would try to shield you from being in that any chance that I get. That's where you get real relationships that have a respect for those differences. That's real talk right there. Let's see. I bet Joe can create a robot and continually tweak it where it is actually a clone of him. That's a good question. Would I make a robot that is in my image? Would I go full cult, create a Jesus, right?
Yeah.
Where I would create something in my exact image. Would that be the case?
I don't think you would. I think you would make it similar but different because you would want somebody to see your blind sides that is also on your side. Does that make sense? Like,
fill in the gaps of something where I'm
yes.
lacking. Okay,
Yeah.
that would probably
like you're
be
going to
it.
be like, be enough like me and have the qualities in me that are necessary and needed, but have these other qualities so that when my slip up, like if someone's going to use your weakness against you, robot AI will be like, I see what you're doing.
And then it's a compliment and a tool to me rather than a replacement for me. I could see that.
You're yin and yang.
Yeah. But as far as legacy goes, if I can create clones of me through robotics that then will outlive me, like for instance, Elon Musk. And I know everybody knows I'm a fanboy of Elon Musk, so that's no surprise. But he'll die one day. And I feel like his philosophy and principle will never be duplicated in our lifetime. So if we can take that part of him that will keep on some of these really hard tasks where I think the next generation will be too soft to pick up, and we can create a robot that will take today's mind of Elon Musk and live 200 years in the future, that's what I would do. So I'd do the same thing with me. So I'd create a legacy bot, trademark, and take all of my world-changing principles that need to outlive me and put it in them.
Your disciples, so to speak.
Yeah.
Flirting with blasphemy here, but your people,
100%.
your teaching.
So I'd have two robots: the legacy robots, the blasphemy bots, and I would have the tool bots where they would fill in those tool bots and blasphemy bots.
Such a tool bot. Julie says, "This is exactly why I listen to you two every day. You make me think, not always agree, but think about it."
Heck yeah. And this is not a
That's our
superficial
intention.
show. If you listen to this to just take what we say and create some gospel out of it, you're not getting that. But if we take the status quo and punch it in the freaking eye, whether or not it deserved to be punched or not, it gets you to think about the status quo and whether or not it should be the status quo, or if there's a better status quo, or that status quo needs to be left alone. That challenge is what I live for.
Yeah. Well, I always say we're anything but boring.
Oh, frick yeah. Frick yeah.
Yeah.
I wish more people would be like that, but it would be a chaotic world if everybody was like.
It would. Everybody would be fighting because you said something I disagree with.
If you do take that principle and you couple it with someone who's humble, it is lasting, right? But if you take a challenge to the status quo, but you don't have a humble person to admit that the status quo is better than what you changed it to, and you go back to the status quo, you get chaos, right? Because now you have ego that's in it. It's like I thought let's take traditional marriage and let's like maybe traditional marriage isn't great. Let's split it up and make unconventional marriage. And then you're like, oh shit, that was a freaking bad mistake. Let's go back to traditional marriage and start again. Now we have science. We have the evolution of stuff. But if you're like, no, I'm so bought into this whole traditional unconventional families and marriage. I know I was wrong, but I'm too much of a dipshit to admit that I was wrong. Let's just keep going down this path, even though it sucks and it ruined everything. Then you get true chaos.
I did see a reel recently on social media, and it was a guy, and it was like trying to think of the last time I saw a straight white family represented in a commercial ad. And I feel like people automatically want to jump on that and call it like racist or bigoted or something of that nature. And oh my God, why would you? But you got to admit, he has a point.
Wait. What's bigoted? The fact that a disproportional of ethnicities and races are being depicted on your television screen? Yeah, it sounds racist and bigoted,
and that
but,
but
not how it's being presented.
Because he said straight and white, he's going to get flack. When his point was, we used to scream and cry that a certain demographic was so underrepresented, and then we only represented that, and another is now unrepresented. But that's okay.
But no, it's not that it's okay. That is what I'm talking about, pushing on a status quo. You have your change makers that take how it is and they experiment to see if I can make it different. So long you have humility that being different isn't necessarily good, but stripping the parts out. So if you were to take that deal, do we want underrepresented people being depicted in pop culture? Is that on its face a good thing? Okay. So how are we going to do this? We're going to inauthentically depict things as a way of skewing it in the other direction.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, okay, if you say, how do we want things to be depicted? Do we want it to be real world, where if let's just say the population of black people is 13%, do we want to have somebody, an auditor, saying that at least 13% of the characters in what we see here and whatever is representative of what's there? And somebody writes down the people and is like, 13% adequate depiction. Are we good? Or should it be overrepresented? And now let's right the wrongs and make 60% when it's only 13%. what are we really asking for? And as long as we dance around what we actually want and nobody will say it, then we have responses like it's racist and bigoted because somebody won't actually say what they're actually meaning. It's not the bigoted response. It's the obscure, non-committal, weird answers to what you really are asking for. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'll make another example because this is how I piss people off in great, quantities. If I say, let's go to dinner, and you say, yeah, let's go to dinner. And I say, oh, where do you want to go? And then you're like, I just want to go someplace nice, right? I know what I'm supposed to do. Go to someplace nice. So if you then say, steak, I just had steak last week. Why couldn't it be gone to seafood? Well, that information would have been helpful before we made a choice, right?
Yeah.
All you have to do is say it, and then the people who make things happen take those things into consideration, and we deliver the thing that you freaking asked for. If you say nothing, and then your emotional heartstrings say, well, you should have freaking known, then there's nothing to work on. There's no way that I could hit your example or hit the metrics of what you're asking for, and then you will always be disappointed. And then you're going to be mad, and all I'm going to say is, well, if you want more specific results, you have to give specific details. And you're going to say, well, you should know me better, and you should know. And I'm going to say, this is a stupid conversation. Let's not play this game anymore.
Please.
So if you want 13% representation, say freaking 13 representation, okay? If you want things to be culturally exact, just say you want things to be culturally exact, and we'll uniformly place them. But you can't have this mysterious void and constantly outrage when nobody hits your mysterious void asks. It's dumb. It's a dumb game we're playing.
You know what show I loved because I felt like it was a real representation?
What?
Roseanne.
Roseanne?
You ever watch Roseanne?
I've watched
In
it.
a world of TV sitcoms that are clearly middle upper class families with good jobs and money and heartfelt conversations and hugging, and everybody's attractive and everybody's got these nice houses, Roseanne comes along and I'm like, that's America. The family paycheck to paycheck in a moderately whatever house. It's not flashy. The family fights all the time. They're in sweatpants. They don't have a nice outfit on every episode. Like, to me, Roseanne was so real, where I feel like if somebody wanted to represent a real group, that's what it looked like. Not like, oh, we need somebody to represent this group, but then it's like whitewashed, for lack of a better term.
Let's talk about that for the remaining 8 minutes that we have
Yeah.
the attention of the internet. Do you think, okay, that was you. You happen to be a white girl, right? You happen to
Yep.
have the same upbringing. So it was totally real to you. Do you think there were families that were not you who thought Roseanne was the worst show on the planet because there was nothing real about it? They didn't have no money. They had some money, or they had no money and I have a ton of money, and they're white and I'm different skin color. Do you think it was less real depending on the perspective?
I'm sure it was.
Now, whose perspective should that be? If there were a black family or a LGBTQ family or a wealthy family, don't you think those perspectives would alienate someone down the road?
Yeah. Everything's going to
So
alienate
who
someone.
are we going to cater to if we have a full melting pot of all kind of different perspectives? Should we push a real version on all of them, or should we have BET cater to the families that want to see real in this category, and we should have Lifetime who wants real to be in this category, and everybody's cool that everybody has their channel catering to what is real to them, so that when they want to look at people who look like them, they have a place to go. But none of them are superior to any other outcome or situation or race or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we got to be cool with looking at something that isn't catering to us and knowing that, hey, this isn't for me, but it's for somebody. I'm going to let that live. And even if it's not popular, I don't really care. I have this, they have that. Everybody should be cool with that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, reality TV is popular when you see people in these mansions and on these elaborate vacations, and probably 75, maybe 90% of the people watching don't live like that, but it's still fascinating.
Yeah, are you okay if the message is not for you, and allowing it just to be its thing and knowing someone takes great appreciation of the thing that you don't like?
Yeah.
Sure. What about if you take a controversial deal where you don't. Are you allowed to hate? Just
Am
as
I
a human being,
allowed
are you
to
allowed to
hate?
hate? Should-
Yeah.
Okay, you're allowed to hate. It's a
Yeah.
freedom of yours. If you want to hate, long as you don't bring anybody in a circle and hurt anybody because of it, you're allowed to have stereotypes. You're allowed to have, some conflict if you don't like black people. And Kellen, it's okay if you don't like black people, as long as you don't.
BJ, don't make that a short.
If you, as long as you don't express it, you're allowed to not like black people. Or black people not allowed to like white people. Sure, your expressions or your situation is your own. Right.
Mhm.
But we almost take certain parts of that and we want to uniformly apply principles to all people, even if people don't share that. So am I allowed to disagree with something? Absolutely.
Mhm.
Are you allowed? And is it allowable that should I be able to cancel you? Right. And make it your, even if there's nothing noble about you not liking black people, there's nothing noble about it. So should you be elevated and giving a prominent place if I know that there's a vile thing about you? You should not allow to be escalated up to the top portions of society if there's something unvirtuous about you.
Well, you can't do much about it.
Because honestly, the virtues used to be pretty uniform where everybody knew what was wrong and what was right. And so long that we allow certain virtues to become vices and vice versa, we don't even have an agreement what the status quo is on what it is to be a virtuous person.
Yeah. I'm getting nervous as I watch the time.
Why?
Because we're going to run out of time.
Oh, it's okay. We've always ended shows on that more discussion to be had in the future.
Yes. Like a to be continued.
Cliffhanger. Krista said, just read about something I want to watch called Reclaim the Flag, directed by Alexis Bitar. That is along the lines of what you're talking about, examines how the flag can be reclaimed as a symbol of unity for all Americans, despite its history of being co-opted by certain groups. That's an important point. And I like that sort of like third camera angle. I used to view the world as my biggest critic, right? I would always picture a third camera in perspective and how it was viewed by someone else. And instead of me having all of the excuses and reasons and a lot of explanations as to why something was, I would take someone who wasn't me, who wasn't going to hear my bullshit, and I had to appear to be in my best form in front of my biggest critic. And I oriented myself based on that third camera lens. But these thought experiments of taking something like you have a co-opted flag, and you can always picture the people who have co-opted something that you are virtuous. I'm taking, what about you co-opting the rainbow and taking something that used to stand for something that was pure and turning into something that they would disagree with. So it's not only from your perspective of someone who you think is vile, taking something that represented something sacred and then bastardizing it. You know that you have bastardized some other person's sacred thing.
Yeah.
And how do you relate those two? How do you make them see eye to eye when you're never going to agree that the rainbow wasn't co-opted and the flag wasn't co-opted, and you're going to have a disagreement on that whole point? Good topic for another discussion.
Yes.
Krista, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. All right, we're out of here. Thank you, Kellen. Tomorrow,
always a pleasure.
We'll have more, and we'll have more rants and things that are going to make people
tomfoolery and.
All right, have a good day.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. This is original Youngstown content. Feel free to share our videos and tell your friends about us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on